welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Addie and this is Just Sad Sinks. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different video. I'll be talking about my bearded dragon Ollie, and I'll be covering bearded dragon basics as well as taking you upstairs and showing you his enclosure and what I've done with it. Also, if you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. So let's head upstairs and look at his world. So now we're in Ollie's world, and today I'm just going to be covering some basics like his tank. I'll be covering what he eats, like his diet, and what we put inside of his enclosure. I'll be covering his lighting and his heat sources. So let's start with the tank. This is an Exoterra, and it's 36 by 18 or 40-gallon tank. And I'm going to just tell you some of the features of this tank and why I chose it from my bearded dragon. So first, it has vents on the front, and these vents allow for air flow from the top to the bottom. And second, it has these double locking doors, so that way you can easily access your animal without having to take off all the stuff at the top. Next, it has a raised bottom, so that way your heating source won't touch the surface that you put your tank on. And last, it has a metal mesh top, which allows for heating to go straight down into the tank for your animal. Let's take a look inside and I'll show you what's in there and why it's in there. I'm going to start from the left and move to the right and just tell you everything in here and what its purpose is. First, we have this little pool thing, and if he gets too hot and he needs to cool down, he can just come over here and sit in it. Or if he feels like he's too dirty, he can just come over here and take a bath. I don't know what he does. But right in front of it, there is a water bowl, and it's just for drinking. And that brings me to this branch right here, or stick, whatever you want to call it. And it's basically for basking, so he can come up here and just cool down. I mean, warm up. And warm up. And this is just some leaves that I put in there for decoration a few days ago. Next to it, there is this little log thing right here, and you can see where he's like dug into it with his claws, and he just likes to sit up here. It's kind of like the middle area, so like perfect temperature just to hang out. And it's also hollow, so he can go in there and cool down if he gets really hot. Over here, there's his hammock. This is also for basking. There's a light up there, and he can get really close to his heat lamp so he can warm up a lot if he gets really cold. And right underneath it, there is this rock right here, and it holds a little bit of heat, and it's also for basking, but it's not one of the ones that you plug in, because I do not recommend those, because they can burn their stomachs because they get super hot. And these are just two things that I use to put his food in. And that's everything in here. Ollie's a little hungry, so I'm going to talk about all his food and then I'll feed him. So first we have these two things, and these are kind of just like little treats or almost backups in case we can't, or we're like unable to get his super worms. So I just feed him this if needed or every once in a while. And then on a regular, I'll feed him collard greens and mustard greens, and he really likes those. I also use calcium powder every once in a while, just to help make sure he gets all his vitamins. So I'm gonna just put a little bit of that on right now since I'm about to feed him anyway. Just that much is good. It doesn't take a lot. So now that it's all over my fingers, let's move on. So he eats super worms instead of crickets because about 4 years ago, he just decided that he was not going to eat crickets anymore because he wanted to be really lazy. So he wouldn't chase them around, and he just lived with crickets basically. Even when they would crawl on him, he wouldn't eat them. So I'm going to feed him these. just chases. He'll chase these around when I drop them, but never. Oh, sorry. And I normally only give him like 5 or 6, so I'm just put this in there. Galaxies too. Doesn't eat this like that. He's like, no thank you. There's one in here. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about his heating situation. So the way the tank's set up is it goes on the bottom from about 85 to 95 all the way across if he's on the floor, but if he's on the branches or the log or the hammock, the little things I've set up that are higher, it just goes like 95 to 105. So I'm going to start on the floor of the left side. So it's anywhere from, it's about 85. Not really anywhere from anywhere, it's just 85. And then if he goes up the branch, it's about 95 because there's a basking light. And then you move over here to about the middle. On the floor, it's about 90 and about the same on the log because they're not that much different. Then when we move over here on the floor, it's about 95 to 90, 92 to 95, something like that. And on the hammock, it can get anywhere from 95 to 105. Now I'm going to talk about the critical lighting that bearded dragons need to have. We have 2 of them. These are 2 UVB 10 lights, and the reason they are so important is because they help his digestive system keep working and work well. We also have these 2 lights. These are just like natural lights, so he has a brighter environment. And also a very important thing is a basking light. They need these because it's basically their sun, and they are cold-blooded animals, so they need a way to stay warm. Over here, there's a ceramic heater, and it's for nighttime because they are desert animals, so whenever the nighttime comes, it definitely gets colder, but not super cold because it still is the desert. So that just keeps him warm enough at night. And that's all the critical lighting you'll need for your bearded dragon. So that was just some basics to owning a bearded dragon. I know I didn't cover everything in this video, but just enough for you to maybe have a good idea if bearded dragons are for you. Also remember, when it comes to any animal, make sure you have done your research and you have some kind of enclosure ready for them when you bring them home, because you don't want them sitting in whatever you bought them in. Like if it's a deli cup, you don't want them sitting in that for a while because that's not good for them. Thanks everybody for hanging out with Ollie and I. Remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I post a video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and all my social media will be linked down below, so go check that out. And remember, I'm just an ordinary girl with an extraordinary passion, and you too can do anything if you try hard enough. Bye y'all. Ollie, do you like making videos? Stop ignoring me. Care to comment? Ollie.